but he's not practicing.
Yeah. When do they start penalizing him? Like the Niners as an organization?
They're allowed to start now that they are through training camp.
Yeah.
But
he's
John
cleared to play by the staff.
John Lynch has said that, or didn't answer the question really when asked that yesterday.
It's just wild. Right? So McAfee just had Adam Schefter on and he kind of explained this. And just the fact that you're reading this, and Adam Schefter, one of the preeminent, if not the preeminent newsbreaker in the country, is now saying 2 weeks after we were told that a trade to the Steelers was imminent, that the holdup with Cleveland all along has been Ayuk's willingness to accept the trade. The contract would have been done there if he wanted to go.
Yeah.
We thought the Browns were out of the picture 2 weeks ago, and the Steelers, it was any hour now, any day now, and now all of a sudden it's, maybe we're going to zig on back to Cleveland.
I'm also still really curious about Washington because I do feel like Washington, they traded Jahan Dotson, they got that third-round pick. They could package that third-round pick with some other stuff if they wanted to and be able to pay Brandon Ayuk and immediately improve your offense big time. I just wonder if that's something that they're having conversations about and if that's something that Brandon Ayuk would agree to.
And that's the part I guess we have no idea, because at the end of the day, it also could be that he wants to stay in San Francisco and he's just been stringing them along to get as much money as he humanly can, which makes sense. And so therefore he's just going to stay with the team that he's been playing for. By the way, going back to the Cleveland roster, since you said they're keeping 4 quarterbacks, you immediately want to know, or it begs the question, well, what position groups did they have reduced to keep 4 quarterbacks? The answer is they only have 2 running backs on the roster and 2 tight ends on the roster. Again, this is the 53 as of now. They could certainly change things. The only good thing to me in Cleveland is the kicker, Dustin Hopkins.
I mean, they have
the defense is pretty darn good.
No,
I mean, as far as people that I like to root for.
Oh, yeah. I was like, because their defense is very scary.
No, it is.
Yeah, and I think that I don't know. The Browns are just such a weird, because you have 2 tight ends, 2 running backs, but granted, like we said, they're trying to trade 2 of the wide receivers. So I'm guessing if they end up trading or cutting those 2 by September 8th, we're going to see them call whoever they put on their practice squad is going to be put up. But that's also interesting too, because if nobody was claimed, we didn't have some big name person claimed from Cleveland either. So even depth wise, it must not be too good if you're looking at guys that you can kind of just put on your practice squad and you can only have 2 running backs and 2 tight ends.
Is Jameis Winston now one of the 4 quarterbacks?
Granted, Nick Chubb too, because he's
right, and then he'll come back after. Yeah, he'll come back after the first 4 weeks.
Is Jameis more now just fun on social media versus actually being a good quarterback?
No, he can win you a game or 2. I would keep him as the backup.
That's what I was saying too.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to be able to get anything for DTR. I wouldn't think. Yeah. I mean, maybe a 6 or a 7.
Maybe that's why they were going to keep him,
or you just keep him on the practice squad. I mean, he was a late round pick to begin with last year.
You only got a 6 for Mac Jones. I don't think you get a 6 for him.
That's true. But then the thought is, if you trade Snoop Huntley, which some team's going to need Snoop Huntley, you got to keep Jameis. I mean, is DTR going to win you a game or 2, or is Jameis Winston? What are the odds more likely of? I would say Jameis. The odds are also likely that he's going to have a game where he throws 5 picks, but the odds are also great that he's going to have a game where he throws 5 touchdowns.
He's squinting over there on the sideline.
Was it last preseason that DTR was thought of as a great fantasy pickup?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, yes, and he ended up playing a game or 2, and then he got hurt. And look, it was just a comedy of errors in that quarterback room last year.
And they still make the postseason.
And it ended with Joe Flacco and a defense that, look, I mean, that's another argument and conversation that we can have, which is defensive success sustainable year over year in the National Football League? Because I am always going to be jaded when it comes to that conversation because of what I saw between 2016 to 2019 in Jacksonville and how quickly a defense can decay. On the other side of it, you look at the New York Jets, and the expectation is that they will once again be a top 5 defense this year, regardless of the Aaron Rodgers situation on the other side of the ball, because they have Sauce Gardner, because they have the Williams brothers, and therefore it's going to be hunky-dory. I am curious, because that's such a young core, when will we finally see that Jets defense tail off? And in the same vein, this is a Browns defense that, if we want to just go based off age and tenure in the National Football League, is a little bit older than the Jets core. And so I'm curious at what point we see the drop-off.
But I do think so I just Googled the last 5 years, the best defensive team over the last 5 years, okay? Number 5, the 49ers, no surprise.
Yep.
Number 4, the Packers. Number 3, the Ravens, also no surprise. Number 2, the Bills, and number 1, the Chiefs. So to answer your question, it's masked a little bit because it's in Kansas City with Mahomes and Reed and the high-flying offense, especially back when they had Tyreek. But they do sustain their success through partially defense.
Right. Well, because the offense allows for them to play with a lead, and so therefore they can pin their ears back and get after the quarterback.
Yeah.
You can't really say that for a Cleveland team that we don't even know what the quarterback play is going to look like in 2024, let alone the New York Jets quarterback play in 2024.
Are you wondering where the Jaguars are in this list, by the way, the last 5 years?
I don't need to ask. I already have an idea.
Yeah. I don't even see them on the top 25.
No. The Packers were terrible last year, but the whole kind of identity of their roster was all young, like they were the youngest team in the NFL. So how quickly do they get back? Because I do feel like they're another team that we've consistently talked about being in the top offensive lines, quarterback, and defense, which obviously helps a ton for you to win consistently.
Thank you to Derek from Indiana for keeping us in line on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. I missed this morning. I was speaking at Atlantic Coast with our good friend Chad Kushner, who runs the digital TV production class over there. Tyler Huntley was released this morning.
Okay.
And so they do only
Released,
have...
but not traded.
No, but released. But again, they
wanted
kept
to trade
4,
him.
and they were hoping to trade him, which, I mean, I don't know what the corresponding move will be.
So they have the 3 now.
But it's still
It
at
is
3.
interesting. So going back, as we were talking about Jameis Winston, that few seasons ago in New Orleans, that's when he ended up getting hurt. Remember, after 7
that's
games.
the bet.
Yes,
that I had with Matt
I had a
Moscona.
bet also
That's right.
regarding that season. But
Also Tyler Huntley, by the way. I think I said Brett Huntley.
No, you said Tyler.
I said Tyler. Okay.
Yeah.
Or Snoop. Whatever. Snoop.
But that season, he had only completed 59% of his passes, but he had, through 7 games, almost 1,200 yards, 14 touchdowns, and only 3 picks. So he was having a season where a lot of people were like, wow, he's on the trajectory of like old Jameis, that we may see some good stuff out of it. And then you just haven't the last 2 seasons.
And that's why I asked the question, because yes, he's fun on when the videos that we see that certainly go viral when it comes to him with press conferences or him just being silly in general. Those are fun. But I don't know that I would want him as the backup to Trevor Lawrence.
Also, going to year 10, isn't that crazy? I just feel like I was just watching Jameis make my heart break against Notre Dame in the beginning of the college football
because FSU
season.
won the national championship in 2013.
Yeah.
I got to, by the way, going back to Dustin Hopkins, I got to meet him several years ago. So that's why I say he's the only good person, not good person, but good thing about Cleveland. All right, we will talk about another controversial person when we return, Coach Prime. You're listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
This cannot be a team of common men, because common men go nowhere. You have to be uncommon.
1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Do the Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, Garber wiggle.
At Garber Auto Mall, we can wiggle it. Best price, we can wiggle it. Best trade value, we can wiggle it. Best payment, we can wiggle it. Ford, Chevy, Buick, GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. With 8 American brands, we can wiggle it. Visit us in Green Cove Springs or online at GarberAutomall.com. And remember, at Garber Auto Mall, there's always a little room for wiggle.
Do the Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, Garber wiggle.
Are you tired of having a plain and boring backyard? Really want to impress your family and friends this year? Then stop by Stone Core on Phillips Highway. Imagine hosting guests at your new outdoor kitchen, relaxing by your custom-built fireplace under a brand new pergola. Stone Core can also remodel your old pool deck and beautiful new pavers. Make your backyard wishes a reality. Visit Stone Core on Phillips Highway and let's get started at stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
Hey Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Lauren Brooks here. Circa Resort and Casino has an incredible all-in package for Duval in December. For only $500 tax and resort fee included, get a 3-night stay at Circa, $200 food and beverage credit, plus a day bed at Stadium Swim. With 6 temperature-controlled pools and a massive screen, it's the world's largest hot tub party. Join us Heels Friday night for a Jacksonville pep rally with specials and giveaways. To book the Jacksonville game day getaway and join the Heels in Vegas, visit circalasvegas.com today.
AC replacement? If your AC unit is ready to go kaput, then it's time to call Florida Home AC. With over $3,000 in tax credits waiting for you on select systems, take advantage of it. Call 777-4300. Get Florida Home AC to cool you off.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
When you take a sip of Bold City Brewery's many flavors, you're taking a sip of this Bold City. In Duval, since 2008, they've been cranking out craft beer for 16 plus years now. So head to their production house on Roselle Street in Riverside or Bold City downtown and sample a Duke's, their legendary brown ale. 2 great IPAs, plus Duval Light, Killer Whale, and plenty more. It's all on tap at Bold City Brewery, downtown or in Riverside. Log on and taste the craft. BoldCityBrewery.com.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball presented by FIS is home all weekend at 1-to-1 Financial Ballpark. It's Coors Light Thirsty Thursday tonight and then Red Shirt Friday and fireworks tomorrow. The first 2,000 fans Saturday get a free strap bag with more fireworks presented by Darley's Plumbing. Then it's Baptist Health Sunday Family Fun Day with more fireworks on the weekend of Boom. DaxShrimp.com for tickets. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball. Affordable family fun.
Cold beer and good grub. That's what you'll get at Taps on 210. Just a great neighborhood feel where friends and family get together. Check out Taps in the Winn-Dixie Plaza, just west of 95 on County Road 210, proudly supporting our 9 After 5 weekly. Head there for a cold one.
This is Greg Huntington, a.k.a. The Mangler. I'm on the winning team at Waste Management. WM is the largest sustainability company in North America. If your business needs sustainable environmental services for waste removal and recycling collection, then you can count on the industry leader of WM to deliver results. Your services will be completed in a timely, safe, and eco-friendly manner. Go to WM.com, WM.com, and get signed up today. If anyone can talk trash, it's The Mangler. Go Team WM, and as always, Duval!
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists returns with their free bumps and bruises evaluation clinics. Now with 4 locations, these free injury assessments are open to all schools and athletic programs. Saturday mornings from 9 to 10 through October 26th at Cortex Sports Performance in Ponte Vedra, Preferred PT in Fleming Island, and also at Brooks Rehab on Centurion Parkway and Brooks Rehab at World Golf Village.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about letting things roll off of your back. So often we can make big deals out of things that are not really big deals. We can allow them to steal the joy of our day. But let me remind you that don't allow anyone or anything to steal the joy of today. Go out today not letting little things steal the big things that God has in store for you.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. The Seminoles are looking for redemption after their loss to Georgia Tech in Ireland this past weekend. Head coach Mike Norvell takes accountability, knowing he has to focus more on getting the ball to the playmakers.
Ultimately, I mean, I've got to do a better job of getting the ball to our playmakers, and making sure that we're giving those opportunities, and still being able to maintain the balance that we have or that we desire. But I thought that was something coming out of the game that I definitely we all get to work and be better at.
The Seminoles will face Boston College in their home opener Monday night to a sold-out stadium. The Shrimp rallied back last night in their 2-1 win over the Norfolk Tides, with Shrimp Adam Mazer fanning a career high of 9 hitters. The Shrimp and Tides are now tied in their series, ready for Game 3 tonight at 7:05. It's 90 degrees at 1 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Light up your lunch with Helmets and Heels.
Presented by First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
Taylor Dahl, Mia O'Brien, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you on this Thursday afternoon, talking all things football. Let's get it to college football. Tonight, 8 o'clock on ESPN, Colorado taking on North Dakota State. Are you cheering for or against, Mia O'Brien? Are you cheering for or against Coach Prime in Colorado?
I'm rooting for a good game because after the way Colorado finished last year, Lauren, I don't know if they're bad. I don't know if they're good. I really don't know what they are, especially
Neither do they, because they had another entire roster turnover.
Bingo, exactly. I'll always root for North Dakota State, even after Chris Kleiman left for Kansas State, just by virtue of what they've been able to build up there in North Dakota, between the Fargo Dome and what an electric place it is to play college football in, to the fact that the FCS level doesn't get a ton of love, and it probably should, especially when you consider this day and age of the transfer portal and players who began at the FCS level. Florida State fans, you can attest to that with Jared Verse. It's not to say they aren't playing good football there, and if anything, clearly the FBS Taylor is taking a lesson from them with the expansion of the playoff, which FCS has had an expanded playoff for decades. And so, look, am I rooting for an upset, quote-unquote, from North Dakota State? Sure. But I just want to see a competitive Colorado because I do want to see Travis Hunter succeed. I do think he is a generational athlete. I don't know about football player, but athlete for certain. And I also want to know what Shadur is going to be. Not that one game will determine what they are in 2024.
Yeah, I think for me, a lot of it is Shadur because of with the 3-0 start last year, it was this like a lot of there was already hype, and then they start 3-0, and it was and beating TCU, and it was this big, huge, massive thing.
Which
and then
TCU at the time had been coming off of a national championship appearance.
So that was a big that was a big thing. And then you go and you're watching Shadur through those first 3 games, and you're like, okay, this is a good quarterback. I feel like we're watching somebody that we're going to be talking about for the next couple seasons. And then the rest of the year, I felt like we were more so watching either like a highlight reel of just here's some few crazy splash plays or him getting sacked. And so you hope that some of those things get fixed because he is someone, obviously, we've been talking about in that Heisman candidate conversation. And I mean, they talk a lot between him and obviously Dion and the team as a whole. Some of these other players, they definitely, and you want to be able to see them walk the walk. If you want it to match, you want that to match what they're doing on Twitter and what they're saying vocally and what they're doing on the football field. Because to Mia's point, you don't want it to be like a complete blowout. I don't personally want Colorado to win because I get annoyed by those type of personalities. But I do think that you don't want it to be this game where you're watching and being like, this is what we have to watch all season. This is the product that we get all season.
Is college football better or not better with Deion Sanders being good?
Yeah. Oh, I think it's better if Deion's good.
Right.
I think Deion's such a massive part of
the content is. And look, the content is king. That's the name of the game in 2024, whether we're talking sports or anything else. And so I think when he's good, then you hear about them. When they faded down the stretch, when they were losing 4 or 5 games in a row, after the first 2 or 3, you stopped hearing about them.
Yeah.
I think Coach Prime is an example of someone who should have been a head coach in a Power 5 conference, now Power 4 conference. I think he was great when he was at Jacksonville State, but the rigors that it takes to be a dedicated college football coach, the amount of hours that it takes, I don't know that he's necessarily the best person for that. And so we'll see after his sons leave, Shiloh and Shadur, we'll see if he's still the Colorado coach. I just don't know that he was ever meant for that level of coaching. I have a crazy
He says
stat.
he's not leaving, by the way.
That's what he says, but I'll believe that when I see it. I have a crazy stat for you. This is from NFL Rookie Watch. Shadur Sanders is currently slated to make more in NIL this season, which is $4.7 million, than the base salaries of Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, CJ Stroud, Brock Purdy, Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers, Trevor Lawrence, Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, and AJ Brown. $4.7 million. Again, that's base.
Yeah.
But $4.7 million for Shadur Sanders is more than all of those quarterbacks and receivers, their actual base salary.
I thought you were going to say more than all of them combined, and that's why I was like trying to wrap my brain around that. I'm like, wait a second here. How much are we talking? Yeah, I mean, but look, I don't want to put Carson Beck's numbers up against it, but probably going to be close to it.
I would hope Carson's making more, but at the same time, again, with the Deion connection, Deion himself could pay his sons $4.7 million and not look to it.
Did you realize they play 5 teams that are ranked in the top 25? So that to me also is another thing to kind of keep an eye on this season, because their schedule, obviously, it's not some cupcake schedule that some people may expect it to be. And so if they do come out of the season to where you are impressed in certain, I think it will give a little bit maybe longer of a leash to Dion too, just because of that. They'll say, it was a tougher schedule than maybe what some had thought. And we'll see what the top 25 looks like in 2 weeks.
Right.
But those things change quick in college football. But I do think it is. And the overall statement, I think the world of college football and what Dion brings to Colorado. When we talked to anybody from the Pac-12 last season, they were talking about how much is just
all of a sudden, Colorado was cool again.
Yeah, and it's cool. It's cool for that school, even if you don't like Dion, him bringing attention and but you want it to turn into a positive thing eventually too. And I feel like there's been so much negative energy because of some of the stuff that's happened on Twitter, because of some of the things that Dion says, the recruitment, losing all these guys in the portal. You want that to start shifting. Like, any publicity is good publicity, but you also actually want some good publicity and to win football.
Because that's what it was at Jackson State. Yeah. At first, everyone thought it was a gimmick. Then clearly it was not. Yeah. And if you want to say that was because of the level of competition, that's why these all-star teams were rolling over other HBCUs, you could say that, but you can't deny the fact that then so many of those players have either gone on to the National Football League or transferred to Power 5 programs and had success, that it says to me that he was developing young men and players. And so, look, I'm not going to defend Dion here. I see some of you Heeligans already upset. Who would have thought we have so many Nebraska fans out there in Heeligan Nation?
There are a decent,
yeah,
a decent
y'all are everywhere.
My grandmother was a diehard Huskers fan.
Yeah, listen, especially when we talk college football, it is one of those 5 to 10 dynasties that we could speak of in the 20th century. So I respect the Huskers, and I apologize for the last 35 years of your existence. So look, I'm not going to defend Dion and and what he has brought in terms of the circus, but I am going to commend him for bringing a school, bringing another conference in the Pac-12. Perhaps he can do the same for the Big 12 into the limelight when so much focus is on the SEC and the Big 10.
Deion Sanders is a guy who is very polarizing, and he'll say, like you said, Taylor, he'll say a lot of things and doesn't necessarily always have the athletes to back those things up. But he also, I saw the other day, there are 8 guys on the Colorado football team that are fathers. And so he started bank accounts, 529 accounts for them with $2,121. I don't know the significance of the amount, but that is a great thing. That's a laudable thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like if he did more of that and less of the trash talking, didn't he say he wouldn't even shake the hand of the Colorado State head coach last year?
Well, they also have outlawed Denver columnists.
Right.
Yeah, because he says mean things about Colorado, which I've heard that from a lot of boots on the ground in Colorado, that essentially if you don't come out with your pom-poms waving, you're not allowed to cover Coach Prime.
That's insane.
Yeah, it is. And that's what Prime is never not going to be Prime. That's just what it is. He is who he is, and he's going to be that forever. But I do agree on the fact that you do want to see some more positive things like those little things. I'll never forget the one interview I saw. I want to say it was on Barstool, and they asked him who the most athletic person he...
A lot of people tonight that are rooting for North Dakota State to beat Colorado just to kind of shut them up to start.
Right. Now I look at their schedule since we brought it up and since we brought the Huskers up. Yeah, as much as the AP Top 25 is going to shift and we can't predict gauntlet to end this season if you're Colorado, to have to host Utah, go to Lawrence to play Kansas. I can't believe I just said that in a football context, but it's reality. And then to host Oklahoma State. I mean, one way or another, those are 3 teams that are going to be competitive in this race, and to end the season with them. I haven't paid enough attention to what Dion has said after last year and the quote-unquote collapse. Yeah. I just think it was built on a house of cards and the competition that they were playing early on in the season. Clearly, TCU was not the national runner-up. It was the year prior. And so in the first 4 weeks of the season was them competing with middle-of-the-road teams as opposed to some of the more elite teams they had to play later in the year in the final season of the Pac-12. But yeah, I look at this in one way or another. You have to peak at the right time, in the words of Doug Peterson, with their schedule.
Speaking of that, I will be shocked if both Kansas State and Kansas are ranked in the top 25 to end the season. Shocked.
Also, by the way, the Heeligans and droves have come through. Prime was 21 at Florida State.
Okay.
And so it's his number twice.
So it was $2,121. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Interesting. Well, it's all about Dion, man. I mean, look, it's a great gesture, but you know what? It's always going to come back to him. It's authentically him, and that's okay.
The T.O. would always say, "I love me some me." That is Dion also.
100%. And that's why I just don't know that this type of job and the requirements that it takes. I mean, we heard Press Taylor read that Press Taylor told Ty Dunn that he works about 100 hours a week in season, which is 14 hours a day, 7 days a week. I would imagine that if you asked Billy Napier, Mario Cristobal, or Mike Norvell, the three main guys, Gus Malzahn, here in Florida, how many hours a week do you work? I guarantee it's more than that. More than 100 hours a week in college football.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if they'd be able to say a number.
Right.
They'd be like all the time.
I guarantee some of them sleep
not
at
working.
the stadium.
Yeah.
They don't see their families for a while.
Well, it's like Schefter, too, because now in this day and age, they're constantly on their phones, even when they're not grinding tape or on the field, because you have to be recruiting at all times. You have to be recruiting your own roster, let alone high school kids, JUCO kids out there. And so you're constantly checking in and networking.
Yeah. And we've had that conversation about quarterbacks of, the quarterbacks that take that different level are the ones that it's not just like a job to them. It's their whole lifestyle as being a quarterback. It's like that for a head coach too. Like if you are a head coach of a football team, it's more than just your 9 to 5. Like you're on this team that you are coaching, that you're developing, you're recruiting, and now the portal and NIL, and it's just getting deeper and deeper for them too.
For sure. One other thing I wanted to hit on here before we get to Taylor's Tangent on the other side. Malik Neighbors requested to have number 1 for the Giants, and so he went to the family of Ray Flaherty, I hope I'm saying that right, who was the very first number ever in the NFL to be retired, and the family acquiesced and said, yes, you can wear number 1. If I was the family, I would have said absolutely not.
You haven't even played a snap in the regular season yet.
Also, what was the significance for Malik that he wanted, just because he thinks he's number 1?
He wore that, I want to say, not in college, but he wore that number previously, and so I want to say it was his high school number.
It was strange. It was a strange thing.
I mean, the reveal was
cool
pretty
of
cool.
the family to be nice and be like, yeah, go ahead. But I do think it would make more sense if, like, let's say he had 2 seasons, and we're talking about Malik being like, he is one of the best wide receivers, and this is the beginning of Malik, and then he goes and he's like, hey, I'd really like this number, but you haven't even seen him take a snap in the regular season yet.
And jury's still out because he hasn't played a regular season. Right. He hasn't played a regular season game, but I don't want to say lightning's about to strike twice where elite talent lands in New York and it just becomes a drama. But between OBJ, now this, I'm not saying the Giants should never draft LSU wide receivers, but if once is a nominally, twice is a trend or something like that. Yeah, that's what we're trending towards. Before we head to Taylor's Tangent on the other side, for those of you who are interested in getting in on some Thursday night football action, cue the music, RJ. Let's run through some college football lines on mybookie.ag. The Buffs, to put a bow on our conversation, ladies, 11-point favorites over North Dakota State tonight.
That's not that much.
You could get NDSU on the money line at plus 300. I don't know if I'd go that far, but it does sound intriguing. The total is at 58. We mentioned Rutgers yesterday, 38.5-point favorites over the real HU, Howard University. NC State's been an interesting one because Dave Dorian is always competing. His teams are always competitive in the ACC. They're 32-point favorites against the Western Carolina Catamounts tonight. And while I don't know if I'm going to get in the action there just because I think that's a blowout, I do think NC State, in what could be a ton of parity in the ACC, might be a player when all is said and done. So it might be worth it to check in on the Wolfpack on this fine evening. And finally, 2 more for you. We mentioned UCF, 39.5-point favorites over New Hampshire. Wake Forest also in action tonight, 32.5-point favorites over North Carolina A&T. Utah will make its debut in the Big 12 tonight against Southern Utah. Cam Rising returns for his 20th college football season. We will be locked in at my house at 9 o'clock, probably for the first quarter before that one goes awry.
It's so crazy. Cam Rising lost the game in the swamp when Utah came to Florida and then didn't play last year, and the Utah Utes won the game. And easily, for the most part, in Graham Mertz's first game as a Gator. All right, Taylor's Tangent is on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
This hour of Helmets and Heels is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers. 1010XL takes you behind the microphone.
I took a long, hard look at myself. You know what I saw?
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
What?
They are The Drill.
I'm a babe magnet. I'm catnip.
Mornings on 1010XL.
Jennifer, luxury has a new address in Jacksonville.
Oh, do tell, John.
Randy Marion Cadillac on Southside Boulevard. We've got over 40 Cadillac Lyrics in stock.
40? That's incredible. Any color you want?
You bet. Pick your color and drive away today. Plus, we're giving away a free home charger with every Lyric.
Fantastic. Anything else?
How about a car you'll never have to change the oil on?
No oil changes ever? Now that's luxury.
Randy Marion Cadillac, where Jacksonville meets luxury.
Visit us today on Southside Boulevard and tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Hey, sports fans, this is Hayes Carlyon from MyBookie. Oh, Gators, Canes, Georgia, Clemson, LSU, USC, Florida State, Georgia Tech, and of course, Jaguars, Dolphins. It is here, and are you ready for the ultimate football season? Using MyBookie Sportsbook and Casino platform, you can bet on every game and win anytime, anywhere, straight from your mobile device. No app needed. Just click my link, sign up, and you're ready to rock. When you bet with MyBookie, you're not just watching the games, you're investing in every moment of action. I'll say it from experience, a few bucks on the line can turn any regular game into one of the most exciting of the season, because you don't have to bet very much. Don't forget to use promo code 1010XL when signing up to claim a $1,000 bonus on your first deposit. Again, promo code 1010XL. Get that bonus. Don't let that pass you by. Bet anything, anywhere, anytime, only with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
When all you have is a hammer, everything is a nail. I'm Dr. George Bari, and like me, I know you have been bombarded with PRP and stem cell treatments from companies that promise the world and charge prices to match. Or the surgeon that convinced you the only way to treat your injuries through surgery. At Bari Orthopedics, we offer the best PRP treatment on the market with prices that won't cost you an arm and a leg. We also have the expertise to treat your injury surgically if that is what it entails. We can discuss all surgical and non-surgical options with you and make sure you get the best treatment available. Come see me, Dr. George Bari at Bari Orthopedics.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser start the week by giving the ball to the best back in Duval.
And off, Fred Taylor.
Monday morning running back with Fred Taylor is fueled by Epstein and Robbins DUI defense firm on 1010XL.
Good people drink good beer, and great people drink Mocama, a refined craft brewery out of Fernandina Beach, Florida. Mocama Beer Company brings sophisticated flagship beers, including Cosmico IPA and Dune Garden Lager, to the greater Jacksonville area. Whether you're hitting the water with friends or enjoying a backyard barbecue, Mocama has the perfect fare for your summer activities. Look for us wherever great beers are sold and find your Mocama.
Tailgate special alert. 3 pounds of marinated chicken, 2 pounds of marinated steak tips, 2 pounds of fresh ground beef, and 2 pounds of homemade sausage for only $80 to feed your crew.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
Expert Automotive is ready to keep you cool this summer. Right now, get an AC inspection or a system cooling checkup. Your choice for only $19.99. Their gift to you this summer is $50 off any service and a free tire rotation with any service. Their ASE certified technicians can keep your car cool without breaking the bank this summer. Call them at 374-3373 to get an appointment today. Expert Automotive. They never sell greed, only what you need.
Hey, this is Bert Cannon with the First Coast YMCA. Youth sports at the Y can help nurture your future athlete's potential and experience the joy of being a kid. At the Y, we're providing a safe, clean, and fun environment with basketball, soccer, volleyball, gymnastics, elite skills training, and more. Best of all, participation in Legacy Youth Sports League is free with your family membership. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
What is the perfect NFL quarterback passer rating? The answer coming up.
It's always a good idea to compare homeowners' insurance rates instead of renewing year in and year out. Log on to southernoak.com and get an instant quote in minutes.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The absolute perfect passer rating in a single game is 158.3.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Hey, I'm Tony from Tony D's Pizza. People ask me all day long, is it the water that makes the difference? Well, yes and no. Even water can't make a good pizza. It's the ingredients, too. The best tomatoes, the best flour, and the best cheese. Oh, and a lot of love. Tony D's New York Pizza, Bay Meadows and 295.
Bug City AC, keeping you cool.
Feeling the heat
Jacksonville, cool down with Bold City Heating and Air. From repairs to energy-efficient installs, we do it all. Family-owned and trusted since 2016, we offer clear pricing, NATE-certified techs, and unbeatable service. Call Bold City Heating and Air today and experience the bold difference.
Bold City AC, keeping you cool. Bold City AC.
Visit boldcityac.com.
For over 40 years, Play It Again Sports has served its customers with a winning, sustainable shopping model. Could say, we were recycling before recycling was cool. Save on quality used sporting goods for baseball, softball, lacrosse, hockey, golf, tennis, and more. Or sell us your gently used gear. We buy all sports, all seasons, and offer cash on the spot. Stop by Play It Again Sports today on Merrill Road near 295 or online at playitagainsports.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
You're listening to Helmets and Heels.
Illuminated by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks. Last night, by the way, they had the Toby Keith tribute.
Oh, yeah.
It was fantastic. Of course, yes. I cried. It was so great. They had his family there. His daughter sang a song that was a tearjerker. But if you like country music, if you love Toby Keith like I do, highly recommend going and watching it if you haven't seen it yet. It's funny. I can fall asleep during pretty much any sporting event.
Yeah.
I have such a hard time staying up past like 10 o'clock for any sporting event. You put country music on, I am wide awake at 11 p.m., still ready to jam. I was sad it was over last night. It was fantastic.
I do. Before we get to my tangent, RJ, I want to talk to you about this real quick. So Steph Curry hits
$62.6 million extension.
Set to be the first NBA player to hit $60 million mark in a single season with his new contract extension. What are your thoughts on that, RJ?
Wow, RJ.
Yeah, no, there was hope in my heart that maybe we could do this whole Steph Curry to the Lakers thing.
That would be so awful.
Let me tell RJ, you and I have talked about this before. I know you have the feelings you do about LeBron, and you certainly have the feelings that you have about Kobe. And I'm not trying to put Steph into that conversation, but the point that I will make is, isn't there something that is admirable about a player who wants to begin and end their career in one locale, especially in the NBA?
Oh, I still respect it. I mean, because that's what I grew up on. Dirk Nowitzki, Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, guys of that caliber. I mean, they all stayed with their teams. Now, few may have looked to go elsewhere at the time. You had a guy like Tim Duncan who I guess was intrigued to potentially go to the Orlando Magic. There are still Magic fans that are still mad about the fact that he did not end up donning a Magic jersey. You can blame Doc Rivers on that one. Kobe did ask for a trade in the middle of a Ralph's parking lot in 2007 and said, yeah, I want to go. They said, what about the Clippers? And he said, I don't care. I just want to be out of a Laker uniform. So for a guy that's probably going to say I'm going to start and finish my career in Golden State, that's always going to be admirable to me, because in a league where it's so easy to leave, thanks to LeBron James in the sense of he's made the game mobile. If Jordan made it global, he made it mobile where you can just go anywhere around the league that you want to. When you have a guy that's saying I'll begin and end where I started, that's something that I'll always tip my cap to.
I'm sure $62 million helps the stay.
Yeah, because that's just an extension.
Yeah.
So he'll be a Warrior until 2027.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But yeah, kudos to him, because it is so many people like a LeBron who we've seen hop from place to place, and a lot of reason that some people aren't fans of LeBron is because they feel like he's kind of ring chased, and Curry's kind of just stayed his own.
And credit to him, because with Klay Thompson departing for Dallas, as of now, Draymond is still around. But aside from that, Andrew Wiggins has been a roller coaster ride since his arrival in the Bay Area. And you look at the rest of this roster, and it's largely unproven. And this was always going to be what eventually happened to the Warriors, just like so many dynasties. But that's where I give Steph Curry credit, because he's not re-signing to stay with a team that's going to be competing for an NBA championship.
Yeah.
At least on paper right now.
You said LeBron kind of ring chased? Yeah. I'm going to say 100% ring chased. All right, right now Taylor Dahl has a tangent.
Now, Taylor's Tangent, served up by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
We've talked about the strength of schedule, and I've talked about how I don't always love how they use the strength of schedule because I think it's based a lot on last season, and so you don't really get the full involvement of everything that's happened this offseason and, improvements that you're expecting to have some of the rookies of last season. But this ranking has the 2024 NFL schedules, but only ranked by the opposing quarterbacks that each of these teams are going to face. Some really interesting stuff here because honestly, it is vastly different from what the normal strength of schedule is, what it looks like. There's a lot of other factors that going into winning the game, obviously, but we know what a quarterback can do. We know what a Patrick Mahomes can add to the level of difficulty when you're playing a team like the Chiefs. So it starts from the hardest. So the hardest actually is showing, I'm not going to go through all of them because it will take forever, but some of the ones that just kind of highlighted. But the most difficult, it was actually showing the Patriots. And it said that because they are facing Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Matthew Stafford, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Matthew Stafford, Justin Herbert, Aaron Rodgers, Stroud, Purdy, Tua, Trevor, Kyler, Geno, Caleb Williams, Will Levis, Anthony Richardson. That's a pretty deep haul of quarterbacks that they're going to be facing. So rightfully so, they're at the top of that.
Crazy to think because by virtue of having the third overall pick, you should have a last place schedule.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's interesting. But when you go through maybe some of the teams that they are facing, like as a whole, they're not counting on being like the best teams overall when you're talking about deeper down or maybe some questions because obviously with the Will Levis and Anthony Richardson, those ones obviously start to skew in some of those teams. But it is really interesting to go through that. Let's go to the Niners. So the Niners have the fourth on this ranking list. And so they have...
Fourth hardest?
Yes.
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Stafford, Rodgers, Prescott, Goff, Jared Love, Tua, Kyler, Baker, Geno, Caleb Williams, Darnold, and Jacoby Brissett. So another one where you're looking at all of those and it's stacked at the top, and then you have a couple easier ones towards the bottom. But for the most part, you're playing some really good quarterbacks throughout the year. But you also have a defense that is known to be one of the better ones in the league.
Wouldn't it be wild if Sam Darnold resurrects his career and...
I'm not counting it out. I'm really not.
Justin Jefferson has another fantastic season.
I think Kevin O'Connell's a good coach, Lauren. I did a prediction on another podcast over the week, like earlier this week, and I said, I won't be surprised if the Jags beat the Packers, beat the Eagles, everybody's high on the Jags, and then lose to the Vikings. And it won't be because the Jags viewed it as a trap game. It'll be because I believe in my heart of hearts that the Vikings are going to be competitive this year because O'Connell's a good coach, just like fellow Kevin over in Cleveland was somehow able to luck that Browns team into the playoff conversation. And I know the Tua truthers, the Tua-non out there won't like me saying this, but Brian Flores, for all his faults, is a damn good defensive coordinator. And they still have him up there in Minneapolis, too.
No Danielle Hunter, though.
That's true.
Yeah.
Come on, shouldn't you be pumping up Jonathan Grenard right now? Isn't that what you do?
No.
It is interesting, honestly, to look at going back to...
I mean, he is good, by the way. He had double-digit sacks last year. But he's not as good as...
No, he's not. Hunter. Yeah. When we're talking about the Patriots, to your point, Mia, when it was like they were supposed to have one of the easiest schedules... Honestly, like when they're playing the Bengals, the Bills, obviously.
Well, the Bengals were the last place team last year in
their
division
because of that.
Joe
And so
Burrow.
that's why I don't like the strength of schedule all the time because it's going off of last year and it doesn't make sense. But realistically, they're playing the Bengals, the Bills, the Rams, the Chargers, the Jets twice, the Texans, the Niners, Miami twice, Jacksonville, Arizona, Seattle, Chicago, and then obviously the Colts and Tennessee. So it's honestly not
Arizona
that easy of a
finished
schedule
last.
when you go
The Bears finished last.
Yeah, so they're looking like, okay, they're playing 3 last-place teams from last year.
The Rams were a big surprise last year.
Yeah, they were.
I just thought Stafford was going to get hurt. That's why I thought the Rams would collapse. And clearly, Sean McVay...
Well, then they lose Cooper Kupp and Puka. No one thought Puka Nacua was going to come out and do what he did either.
To that extent, certainly, because I thought he'd be a productive player in the NFL, but not to that extent. I also think Sean McVay really has reinvented himself in regards to the run game. Not that they didn't run Todd Gurley into the ground once upon a time, because they did, but this investment in the run game, and now you add in Blake Corum to the fold with Kyron Williams, and I mean, credit to him. Because I think that when we think Sean McVay offenses, when we think Kevin O'Connell, we think Matt LaFleur, we think pass first, and that's not really what it is. Even Bobby Slowick out in Houston, he wants to run the ball first. They just did not have a run game last year.
That's why they got Joe Mixon.
I'll scroll through. I want to get to the AFC South one. So after, when we're talking about the San Francisco 49ers, after that, it's the Broncos, the Browns, the Ravens, the Bills. The first one on this list of most difficult in the AFC South are the Tennessee Titans. They face Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Aaron Rodgers, CJ Stroud twice, Goff, Love, Tua Tagovailoa, Lawrence twice, Caleb Williams, and then at the bottom of theirs, obviously with Richardson, Richardson twice, Jaden Daniels, Sam Darnold, and Jacoby Brissett. So they are the most difficult when it comes to this ranking of if you're just purely basing it off of the quarterbacks that they're going to be facing. After that is the Cardinals, the Seahawks, the Dolphins, the Chiefs, the Vikings, the Panthers, the Commanders, the Cowboys, the Eagles. Next, we get to the Houston Texans at number 19. They have Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott, Jared Goff, Jordan Love, Tua Tagovailoa, Trevor Lawrence. By the way, they are counting Trevor Lawrence, so they have like the strength of like tier 1, tier 2, and they have Tua Tagovailoa, Trevor Lawrence, Caleb Williams all in a tier 3 in this when it comes to the rankings. Above that in a tier 2 are guys like Jared Goff, Jordan Love, Dak Prescott, Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, and then the tops are Mahomes, Allen, and Burrow. And so that's next, and we scroll.
Yeah, Trevor should be in the same category as a rookie who's never played it down in the NFL. Sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that's why I just wanted to also preface that there some of it, the tier looks a little different. But so beyond that, Rams, Bucks, Lions, Saints, Giants, Packers, Jets, Colts. After that, and the Colts. Obviously, again, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, C.J. Stroud twice, Jared Goff, Jordan Love, Tua Tagovailoa, Trevor Lawrence, Caleb Williams, Russell Wilson. But then he has Daniel Jones, Will Levis twice, Sam Darnold, Bo Nix, and Jacoby Brissett. So a lot of the red in that. Chargers, Bengals, Jags with the 30th easiest comparably when it comes to the quarterbacks they're going to be facing this season. And they have, obviously, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, C.J. Stroud twice, Jared Goff, Jalen Hurts, Jordan Love are the only ones in their top 1, 2. And then Tua, Deshaun, and Caleb in tier 3. And then the rest all in tier 4 with Gardner Minshew, Anthony Richardson, Will Levis twice, Sam Darnold, and Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, I think Tua's better than the tier 3 that he's in for now as far as how accurate he is. But certainly, we will find that out week 1 as the Jaguars head down to Miami to take on the Dolphins. All right, we've got lunch for 2 on this Thursday, right, Taylor?
We do. Lunch on the ladies, lunch for 2 to Chick-fil-A. Give us a call at 641-1010. We'll do caller number 4.
We will chat Florida and Miami. That comes up this Saturday at 3:30 with Nick De La Torre. Coming up next, he is the Gators senior writer for Gators Online and On3 Sports. And certainly we'll congratulate him and his wife on their new baby when we return on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels. This hour is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers. It's hard to explain, but play-by-play just sounds better on the radio.
What a turn of events!
1010XL, Jacksonville's home for play-by-play.
911, what's your emergency?
Help, we don't have air conditioning.
Ma'am, 911 is for emergencies only.
Well, my husband's trying to stuff himself in the refrigerator.
I see. Well, maybe you should call Duck Duck Air Conditioning.
To get him out of the fridge?
To get a new AC system.
Beat the Florida heat with Duck Duck Air Conditioning. Jacksonville area's AC experts. For service, repairs to new installations, trust the Duck. DuckDuckAC.com.
Imagine driving a late model Corvette, BMW, Mercedes, Lexus, Honda, Chevy, Ford, and more, all at a fraction of the original sticker price. Visit Vaughn Motor Group's indoor showroom and browse a great selection of dream cars that are inspected with warranties. Before you make your next auto purchase, check out Vaughn Motor Group on San Jose Boulevard or at vaughnmotorgroup.com for a complete inventory listing. If you can dream it, you can drive it at Vaughn Motor Group.
I'm Taylor Rose with our Remedy Staffing Westside office off of Normandy Boulevard. We are helping great people find great jobs. Remedy has helped some of the best employers in Jacksonville find talented job seekers like you for over 25 years. Our current job openings range from entry-level distribution center pickers to equipment operators. Apply today at remedygoodjobs.com. Don't wait. Apply at remedygoodjobs.com now.
Chris Doring is chomping at the bit to tell you about today's Gators.
Chomp, chomp, chomp!
With Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser. Tuesday mornings on The Drill. Brought to you by Farrah & Farrah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. On 1010XL.
When storms start to crop up in the Atlantic or Gulf this time of year, having a solid plan to handle anything that sweeps through the first coast is very important. That's where American Electrical comes in. Ensure your home's safety and comfort with an American Electrical home generator. As the area's leading home generator dealer and installer, American Electrical can offer you easy installation, simple maintenance, and peace of mind. Schedule an assessment by simply calling the team at American Electrical. They'll walk you through the best generator for your home or business. Log on, american-electrical.com.
Anytime I need to send flowers for any reason to anybody, there's no choice for me but Kuhn Flowers. This is 1010XL's Frank Frangie, and I've used Kuhn Flowers dozens of times over the years. Make Kuhn Flowers your choice for when you need to send a floral arrangement.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Homeowners, good news for you. Accent on 4. Listen up. Loan Pronto now has mortgage rates that start with a 4. Prosser here. It's true. Mortgage rates have plummeted. So low, we haven't seen them in a long time. If your current rate is over 6%, you can dump it and lower your house payment big time. Loan Pronto just locked in a homeowner at 4.99% APR. So whether you got your loan last week, last month, or last year, it's time to call Loan Pronto. Even if you're in process with another lender, stop now. Call Loan Pronto. Ask about their zero-cost rate reduction home loan. You can lock in a lower rate with no closing costs in a matter of days, with almost no paperwork and usually no appraisal. And if you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Call now. Loan Pronto can give you a rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Call 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. Owner approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Joe C. for Hard Rock Bet. It's the sports book for every kind of player. Straightforward, simple enough for the first-time bettor, but built with all the features experienced players expect. Plus, try it now. If your first bet doesn't hit, you'll get a bonus bet back up to $100. Easy deposits and fast withdrawals. PayPal, Venmo, and more. All you have to do to get started is download the Hard Rock Bet app. Go online, hardrock.bet. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700, offices Jacksonville, Florida, and don't let the state decide your fate.
When the sun goes down, you might think a golf course shuts down, but not at the Golf Club of Southampton. Join the gang every Thursday night for trivia with Brooke and Jason, and everybody's favorite night, Friday night on the patio, featuring local musicians, food, and drink. It's all at the Golf Club of Southampton. Great golf. You've come to expect that. But don't forget, when night falls, the fun doesn't stop. Trivia every Thursday night and Southampton's live music patio session Fridays. Call 287-PLAY to make a tee time and the good time.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Following the final cutdowns of the roster, defensive coordinator Ryan Nielsen met with the media to discuss keeping 7 interior defensive linemen and looks forward to seeing them in action.
I think it's a combination of everything. You know, we've got some good, really interior players, but then some guys that can flex out and play out on the end. Different personnel groups and packages and things like that. So it allows you the flexibility of maybe getting a little bit bigger in times when we need it. I think overall the group has done a good job, and those guys are deserving of being here, and they've earned the spot. You know, now it's just let's take the next step and get into game week next week and see how it goes.
Sound courtesy of Jaguars.com. I'm Molly McDonald with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Does he know what day of the week it is? Does he know what time of day it is? I don't blame him if he doesn't. Congratulations. Welcome aboard on the Garber Auto Mall hotline. New dad, a dad for the first time during football season. Round of applause, RJ. The one, the only, Nick De La Torre. How are you, my friend? Thank you for joining us.
We're good. We're good. Frankie was so excited for football season that she came 3 weeks early, so she wouldn't miss any of the games.
Is this a good or a bad thing for you scheduling-wise, that she's already here and she's doing healthy, and we're oh so happy about that?
It's a good thing. Mom and baby are healthy, so it can't be anything but great.
Absolutely. Yeah. Congratulations. I love the name Frankie,
Me too.
by the way.
So cute.
And so let's get it to football. Since you said she's excited, we're excited. Obviously, the Canes come into the Swamp on Saturday. It's going to be sold out. But I have to find out, what color are the fans wearing, Nick? Because it was supposed to be a whiteout. Now Miami's wearing white. This is a whole hullabaloo.
Yeah, it's A+ troll job by Miami on their Instagram, posting their uniform and saying we were told to wear all white. Listen, I get it. It's 3:30. It's going to be super hot. I think there is no chance of rain. It looked like there was going to be a chance of rain earlier in the week, which would have just made it hot and humid. Florida fans typically don't have a great track record of wearing a color when they're told to, unless it's blue when Tennessee shows up or orange or white when Kentucky shows up. You know, you get the rare occasion for a night game. I think last year was pretty much all blue when Utah, or 2 years ago when Utah was in town. I get it, but it's kind of weird to try a whiteout. I don't anticipate it being very successful.
Some of the news coming out recently, Nick, is that Montrell Johnson was cleared to play and has returned to practice this week.
Mm-hmm.
What are the expectations for him? Will we see him out on the field? Are they going to ease it in? How is that going to look?
Yeah, anytime you hear, running back or football player, or, regardless of position, anytime you hear knee, your mind goes to the worst. And I think what we kind of heard early on was they did an arthroscopic surgery, and basically they found out when they did that they needed to clean up some cartilage, but that the arthroscopic surgery showed that there wasn't any other structural damage, ACL, MCL, anything like that. So there was an optimistic, in my mind, timeline that he would be back for the end of camp, and the optimism paid off. I think it's huge for Florida. I've said all offseason that I think Trevor Etienne transferring was worse for the perception than it would be for production, because I think Florida has a really good running back room. But I said that with a healthy Montrell Johnson, so it's certainly big for Florida to get him back in the fold for this week.
You, of course, can find Nick on X at De La Torre. Nick, before I get to my next question for you, one from our text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, with regards to the Gators depth chart released for the season opener with Miami, the F position on defense, not like the tight end flex, the F position that is listed. I'm assuming that just means the opposite defensive end, but I agree with the listener. I've never seen just the letter F used to describe a position. If you could elaborate on that.
Yeah, that would be like your strong side defensive end.
Okay, exactly. But any reason why it's called, do we know why it's called the F, or is this, I've just never seen it on a depth chart before either.
Yeah, I don't know. Every coach kind of has their different things. At Florida, and I've covered 4 coaches, and, the 34 outside linebackers been the Jack, the Buck.
Right.
All kinds of different things. It's just every coaching staff has, their own language and their own terminology.
Yeah, Jack and Buck I've seen. I don't think I've ever seen F before, so that's a new one. One tweet that's been making the rounds, and I think as we get ready for this game, Nick De La Torre, it's certainly a big holistic picture that many people believe could be the advantage for Florida come Saturday. This is from Nick Marcinko, and you retweeted this as he covers Gator Country alongside you down there in Gainesville. I counted 16 scholarship seniors or graduate students on Florida's Week 1 depth chart compared to 6 in 2023. Is that a difference maker, especially considering the transfer portal extravaganza going on the Miami depth chart right now?
Yeah, those are 2 really good points. I think one thing I really looked into with Graham Mertz was, what is the history of transfer quarterbacks in their second season in a program? And Graham had mentioned to us in the spring. He said, this time last year, I was learning people's names. He goes, now I know why they play football. And just that knowledge of not only your teammates, but what your offense is doing, not knowing the plays, but knowing why this play is being called, what the defense is trying to do to stop it. And you can go through, Kyler Murray, Caleb Williams, Joe Burrow, all had very good second seasons after transferring. I think Graham is poised for a great year, and he'd be one of the seniors. I think another guy that I've talked about a lot is Asa Turner from Washington. I think he has an all-SEC type of potential. He didn't play a ton last year at Washington. I think he did play in 7 games, but 3 of those were the Pac-12, may she rest in peace, championship, and then the 2 playoff games, which is the only reason he's here is they only played in 4 games because he played with 2 broken hands last year, but a big physical safety. I think Florida has the best team Billy Napier's had. And then I've kind of started saying this week, the environment in the Swamp. I tweeted over the summer that the Swamp is special, and I've been to all but 4 SEC stadiums, 2 of them being the new guys. And really the only stadium atmosphere I've experienced that rivals Florida is LSU. I think they're kind of 1A, 1B to me. Miami has 8 transfer portal guys starting. So what is that chemistry? What is that cohesion? I mentioned how Graham said I was learning guys' names last year going into week 1 at Utah. That's probably the same case for Cam Ward and the 7 other guys that are starting. And then you add that in with the Swamp. And now we're using helmet technology with radios. What is that going to look like for a Miami offense trying to get a radio call into their helmet when the Swamp is roaring? So I think those are some storylines and some things to watch. Is just how much of an impact can the Swamp make? And I think if Florida keeps it close or gets ahead early, it's going to be a really, really tough environment for a Miami team that has 41 new players when you count the transfer portal and the recruiting class.
Yeah, that's a lot. Nick, I know you're only allowed to go to practice for a short period of time every day. That's the way that Billy Napier runs it in many colleges now across the country. But what can you tell as far as is the offensive line improved and then, of course, special teams as well?
Yeah, the offensive line, I've said this, it's probably the farthest point where my opinion differs from Florida's. And they said they have a lot of depth. They have the best offensive line that they have had since they've been here. I agree that they have more depth, but a lot of that are the 4 freshman offensive linemen they brought in, who I think are going to be good, but I wouldn't count on them as true freshmen playing in the SEC. So it's interesting to me when the depth chart came out on Wednesday night that Cam Waits, who had played right tackle and right guard, had spent time in fall camp at right guard getting reps there, jumps over transfer from San Diego State, Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon, to start at right tackle. And that right side of the line is kind of where I've had questions. And you're going to have to figure out a way to block Ruben Bain on that right side. So Damian George kicked from right tackle to right guard. He's really changed his body. I was able to go inside the strength conditioning program over the summer. Spoke with Damian, spoke with Tyler Miles and Jake Sankel about how much improvement Damian has had. I'm just kind of in the camp where I need to see it. I think you're good at left tackle with Austin Barber, Najee Harris, and Jake Slaughter. It's really that right side of the offensive line that I'm kind of in a wait-and-see mode. The special teams, they've got a mat now. You've got 11 circles on the sideline. Put 11 pairs of feet in those 11 circles. Make sure everyone's wearing a different number and get on out there.
I mean, I guess do what you got to do. I know Miami went and got a time management guy to help their little issue they had last year against Georgia Tech. Nick, one of the
kneeling coach.
One of the things that I read, one of the stats that I read on Cam Ward was his struggles under pressure. He completed like 44% of his passes when he was under pressure, just 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. How do you think that Florida's can take advantage of that this week, and especially with some of these guys up front? I know a Joey Slackman in the middle, but that F position that we were just talking about, getting the pressure to Cam Ward.
Yeah, the stat that stands out to me about Cam Ward is his turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
He has more interceptions than Graham Mertz, and granted, Graham Mertz had a very good year keeping the ball safe last year, but when he came to Florida, that was a big talking point, was how much he turned the ball over. Cam Ward has more interceptions and has 46 career fumbles. I don't know how that's possible.
Yeah, 14 last year, I read. That's wild.
Yeah. And that to me is something that, we talked to the Miami writers and they said they haven't had any issues in camp. And I said, well, those guys are non-contact. You should definitely not be fumbling in a non-contact jersey. So that's a big thing to me. Miami has a really good offensive and defensive line. The defensive front seven is really good, but I think Florida getting pressure. Cam is very good under pressure in terms of moving in the pocket. And I don't know that he's a runner like Johnny Manziel or Mike Vick, but he can extend plays with his feet. And that's where I think Florida's secondary last year, Florida didn't get pressure on the quarterback, and then you're asking the guys in the secondary to cover longer. And I think we, threw a lot of shade at Florida's secondary, but it's hard to cover somebody for 6-7 seconds at this level. So getting pressure, keeping Cam Ward in the pocket if you can. And then I think really Florida, the best thing for Florida, it hurts losing Jamari Lyons. He was scheme or position versatile. He can play nose and defensive tackle. I think the biggest thing for Florida is the depth that they have. They're 4 deep at F. They're 3 deep at nose tackle, 3 deep at defensive tackle. You've got George Gumbs, TJ Searcy playing Jack. So I think for Florida, it's telling those guys, hey, you're only playing 25 snaps today. You have to play 110%, 25 snaps. Don't go out there and think, well, I need to save something for later. We have enough guys that we can rotate, keep you fresh. You need to go out there. So I think that'll be the biggest thing for Florida. How can they keep Cam in the pocket? Don't let him extend plays by moving up in the pocket or scrambling out. He does a really good job of keeping his eyes downfield when he leaves the pocket as well. So that's something to keep an eye on. But the turnovers really, really stick out to me. And Florida was not good at creating turnovers last year, something they put an emphasis on this offseason.
You got me feeling really good about picking Florida on the money line right now, Nick. So continue those good vibes. For the Gator fans, Leon Searcy hasn't entered the studio yet for Crosstalk, so it's okay. We'll keep the Gator vibes going right now. And, of course, for our Heeligans out there, make sure you head on over to @DeLaTour on X as well as Gators Online on 3 Sports to check out all of Nick's wonderful content as he covers Florida, Miami this weekend. I also somehow managed to miss, Nick, the retweet of Billy Horschel in Georgia Tech colors. Yeah, keep us laughing, Billy. Keep us laughing, Nick. Say hi to little Frankie, and we appreciate you joining us on the Garber Automall Hotline.
Thanks for having me, ladies.
There he goes, Nick DeLaTour, again, @DeLaTour on X. He will be in the swamp on Saturday. This guy, let's see if he's going to be in the swamp on Saturday.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
Okay, so we're gonna cool down.
Yeah,
and we're gonna cool down, and then we're gonna hit the 2-minute drill. Let's do it, ladies.
I'm going to just go with what my tangent brought to you by Chick-fil-A was on, and it's that the strength of schedule just bothers me because it's based on too much of last year and not. Counting the Bengals as a negative when it comes to your strength of schedule is probably not the best way to go. And when you're looking at this, I think they have to find a way to reevaluate the changes that come in the offseason and maybe major players that were missing in the previous season before they make strength of schedule, because the Patriots' strength of schedule is not easy and they were not good.
Still no Brandon Ayuk at San Francisco 49ers practice, from what I can see, according to Nick Wagner, their ESPN reporter. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to cool down with a couple things Nick said. 1, Florida has to get pressure to affect Cam Ward, and certainly 2, the fact that they have a special teams mat. So
they have to stand on the circles.
Yeah,
that is like a kindergarten thing. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's exactly that. And it was supposed to be a whiteout, but of course now who knows? All right, let's say hello to XL Primetime.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Injury Care Centers. Discover BioTarget Regenerative Therapy, a safer drug-free solution for lasting pain relief. Visit GoBioTarget.com.
I lied. I have one more thing to cool down with. / we can ask Matt Hayes of XL Primetime. Donna Murphy just texted me. She calls it the car line. Do you call it the car line, the pickup line, or the drop-off line at school, Matt?
Car line, of course.
Okay, maybe that's.
I thought we were saying Hayes car line.
Right, I was too, but no, yeah, car line.
I said the pickup line, and Lauren said that sounded like you're picking somebody up.
That does.
That's what a pickup line is.
Like if I said that would be creepy.
But like you can say that. I can't say
or
that.
the drop-off line. I don't know.
Matt, do you remember in like elementary school VPK when the teacher would be like, "All right, go stand on your squares.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure you're in the
But I'll tell you this though, you laugh at it. This is why they initially did it in college decades ago, is because a lot of guys play on both offense, defense, and special teams.
Mm-hmm.
So the coaching staff literally want to know, do we have 11 guys ready to go? That's why you're on that thing. And look, Florida could have used it the last 2 years.
Definitely.
So the fact that they have it now, it's a good thing.
The guy's like, "This is my circle."
You're 8, right? Get on 8 and stay there. And I mean, you
Also,
laugh, but it's
I know.
realistic.
Eliminate that mistake. You do not want that happening again.
Yeah, then you won't have 2 players with the same number running on the field at the
then
same
you
time.
also-
Or having 10 players run out for special teams.
Yeah, and you won't have the entire group trying to run out while Graham Mertz trying to spike the ball against Arkansas to win the game.
Notre Dame did it too last year, where they only sent out 10, and it was like on the goal line, and everyone's like, "Where's the other guy?"
I know you guys will
happens
make
all the
your
time.
you'll make your official picks tomorrow, Matt. But I can't help but ask, what way are you leaning for Saturday?
I don't. I was leaning Miami earlier this week. I don't know.
Hey, listening to Nick just now as he described the depth along the defensive line, plus 40 new players at Miami, I'm feeling kind of good about Florida on the money line.
Yeah, I'm not feeling good about Florida's offensive line. I think that's where I'm really having concern, and I really like Miami's defensive line. But I was the same guy who a year ago said I'm really worried about the Canes blocking Texas A&M's defensive line. They did, and they won the game. So I don't know yet. It's you know what? Tune in Friday night for the wildly successful college football show.
Round of applause,
6
RJ.
p.m.
Bueller Air Conditioning college football kickoff show
6 to 7.
with Sonny's Barbecue.
AM
too.
and FM.
longer
I
on
keep kicking the
Saturdays.
table. On AM and FM, by the way. That's 92.5 and
Yes, not Saturdays. We're not going to have any more conflicts with those 12 o'clock kickoffs.
No.
6 o'clock Friday nights.
It's 60 minutes for the rest of your lives. In the
Are you
word of,
pro?
Tim
Are you
Tebow.
pro Prime?
I was initially. I thought Prime could be a guy that could get to a program and really not only change it, but change the way the entire conference and the way these guys deal with the HBCU universities, which I think all these guys should give the HBCUs at least one game a year, which will help them basically save those programs, which I think a guy with his personality could have saved that, could have done that, could have convinced these presidents, this is something that needs to be done. And now it's all about NIL and it's all about showmanship, and it's disappointing. It's very disappointing. And I'll tell you what, they lose to North Dakota State tonight. Ooh, boy.
Plus 300 on my bookie.
All of a sudden, it becomes, what in the world is going on there?
Yeah.
All right, we'll be listening. Thank you, sir.
All right, ladies, thank you.
That is XL Primetime coming up next. For me, O'Brien, for Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We'll talk to you tomorrow on a Feel Good Friday.
Walk all over you.